What I did, my one trade I took today, I'll share with you what I did, is I drew my little counter trend line as we were coming down. So right here from 12:30 or so till 1:15-ish, 12:30, so find that here. 12:30 to 1:15, that's like right in here. Okay. We're coming down, we're coming down, we're coming down, right? I'm just watching this price action and I drew this line over top of these peaks. Cycle got finally all the way to the bottom. We're no longer living in the middle like we were, all this, we're kind of just living in the middle, living in the middle. Finally got to an extreme. So now I'm looking for a trade setup. So I drew this line and I just said, hey, look, when we break that counter trend line, if we can change from yellows to blues, I'm in. And look, right here, yellow to blue, we got above the 50% level, and my cycle hooked from red to green, crossed back over. It broke my counter trend line. This is my entry. Now, the reason why, how do I know that in the moment? How do I know what in the moment? That's not a good environment to trade? Well, I'm looking at it. Like, does this look? Well, first of all, I know the 1-day VIX is 8. That tells me a lot of information. Yeah, the 1-day VIX is 8, 8.8. It's very low. That tells me there's not a lot of expected volatility today. And then just look at the candles. Look at this. Red, green, red, red, green, green. A little bit of red, green. Like, any of this look fun? Are we in any kind of extreme? Kind of got a little bit near the extreme there. That was about it. So maybe you could have taken a downside trade there. But like, all of this is basically mushy middle. We're just grinding along, kind of no fun, right? I'm not sure what a normal 1-day VIX is, but I actually collected. Um, I collected I was doing some data work today. I collected the 1-day VIX data from the last 3 years today. But I can show you what I did. I bet you I could find it. This is what I was working on today. The 1-day VIX, looking over the last 3 years of data, 14, 10. I'll kind of scroll through so you can see this. Actually, it's better. It'll be better this way. Just so you can get an idea of what VIX has been and what the 1-day VIX has been. This might be helpful. This was kind of my snow day project today. Here's going day by day. Basically the opening 1-day VIX. So here's 10s, 11s, 9s, 12s. You can see here's low 7, 10, 16, 12, 13, 14, 15, 10, 11, 10. Some low ones here, 6, 7s, and 8s in here, 11 and 10. There are some high volatility points too. When we had the tariff stuff, here's 23, 22, 23, 59, 43. This was April. We had high volatility in April. 6, that's a very low, very extreme. That's about the lowest I've seen. But it looks like it lives kind of between 10 and 13 or so, right? So when it gets down below, it's a little bit more extreme. Does that help? I don't know. I don't want to do an average right now with that. But you can also look at the VIX. You just look at the chart. Here's the VIX chart. Here's the VIX 1-day chart. You can see pretty clearly what's a low level. There. 7, 8 is low. What's high? Probably 20. So anyhow, it's a little bit of a heads up of what kind of environment we're trading in. But doesn't mean that there won't be shifts. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying when I think volatility is low, right? It sets my expectations for, let's not expect a really huge move that's going to get a huge runner, right? Let's take profits early or convert early and look for smaller moves, right? All right, so anyhow, this was my trade. This is the only trade I took today. Waited for the counter trend line, waited for the shift. This is more of your CTV shift. Yellow to blue. Bam, bam, bam. Time zone number 7, time of day number 7, right on the dot. Thanks. Right, and here we go. It happened here on the 5-minute chart as well. There's your push. But I'm not hanging around to see what's going to happen. Okay. So, and some of you guys know that I oftentimes will take profits. I look for 3 pushes. So, but those pushes just may be a little smaller. So look, I'm in the trade here. This was the first push. Then it had a little pause. Second push, little pause. Third push, out. That was it. So what I did today is I wasn't sure how much I would actually be able to trade. I've been sitting here for a long time without trading anything. And this was what I thought might be my one shot at it. So I decided to do a 10 wide instead of a 5 wide. So I got the 50 60s, when I entered, and I converted the 60 70s, right? Now, the reason why I chose to do a 10 wide is because, again, I thought the market was basically going to stay still. I wasn't going to have a whole lot of chances to get a bunch more flies on. It might be my only trade of the day. Well, I didn't convert it for full profit. No. So I told you, I'm looking for 10x trades for me. Right? So I think I got in here for, I want to say it was about 480. I think I bought the debit spread for 480, right about here. And then I converted, when I pulled up the credit spread, it was at like 300. And it got to here and I converted it for 380 and I took it off. So I paid 480, I got 380 back. But that means, that's not enough, right? I'm missing $100. Right. I converted for negative 100. So I paid $100. It ended up losing me 71 of it today. But when I'm taking a trade at 130 on a day where the market is pretty still, and I can get basically smack dab in the middle of that, something like this, and I got a pretty high probability that I'm going to be there. Now, today it didn't. Of course, once I get on and talk with all of you, then the market does this right at the end of the day. You go, ah. But, all it needed to do, if I'm paying $100, it just needed to get above 51, anywhere in here, and I make money. Anywhere in there. How much would 2 debit spreads need to go to get you a fly on one and cash on another? Yeah, I mean, probably around a 5-point move, but I don't think I would have got enough cash to pay for completely to play for the second fly. I could have sold it before the end of the day. At one point, when I pulled it up, I was looking at it about 10 minutes before. It was worth like $600. But why? I'm never going to sell my one. Like, why would I do that? Is the point to make $100 off of this, $120 off of this, or is the point to 10x my money? Yeah, you guys that are struggling with your accounts, like if you've been trying this strategy and your accounts are just sinking and sinking and sinking or flat, right? You need to get some 10x trades in there. You need to be willing to say, all right, I'll pay $100 for this, and if this thing hits at $800 or something, and I get a $700 gain on one freaking trade, on one shift, on one contract, right? That will move your account. That's what moves your account more than anything. For at least, I guess I'll speak for myself, but I think other CTVers could probably speak to this. The way my account typically goes, my CTV account, is it's kind of flat, maybe a little bit down, and then I get a spike. And then it's flat, maybe a little bit down, then I get a spike. And it's flat and maybe a little bit down, and I get a spike. That's how this goes. It is not like this. But if you'd ever get these spikes and all you ever have is the down and the down and the down, that's not the same thing, right? You don't need a crystal ball. You don't need anything really special. It's just a little bit of it is experience, and a lot of it is just following rules, right? 5 wide can get a $500 pin. Yeah, so if I'm not willing to pay $100 for a 5 wide, because that's only going to get me $100, or that's only going to get me 500, and that's if it pins perfectly, right? I'm willing to pay $50 for a 5 wide. So here, let's say if I had gotten in right here, let's suppose I did a 5 wide, right? If I did the 55, 60, maybe something like that, supposing I paid $280 for it. Let's just say I paid $280. Well, if this thing starts to come up and I can get my credit up to be like $230 on a day like today, I'll take it. But you're in the hole. Yeah, but I've got a 10x lottery ticket. Does that make sense? I'm not willing to drain a lot of money. I'm not willing to pay a lot for that, but a 10x lottery ticket, sure.
Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video from Trade With Me Now. Make sure to go ahead and like this video and subscribe to our channel so you make sure that you catch our next video right when it's released. Also, if you have a question or comment, please leave that in the comment section below. And of course, if you want to learn more about Trade With Me Now or join our community of profitable traders, go to tradewithmenow.com. There's also a link in the description below.